you can start your presentation by sharing the screen. Yeah, would that be fine?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So I have like 40 minutes, right? Presentation time?
Yeah, yes.
Yes.
Okay, I'll try to make it less than 40 so that we have some time for question and answers.
True, fine. George, can you start?
Yeah, ma'am, you can start.
Yeah, okay. So, good afternoon, one and all. So, we have with us today Dr. Samrat S. Kumar, who is a country representative of Euraxess India. It's my honor to welcome Dr. Samrat and introduce him. He'll be giving a talk on research and funding opportunities under the EU's Horizon 2020 program. Dr. Samrat is a country representative of Euraxess India, an initiative of the European Commission that supports the mobility and career development of researchers of all nationalities, age and career levels while enhancing the scientific collaboration between Europe and the world. Dr. Kumar holds a PhD in South Asia Studies from the University of Oslo, Norway. Over the last 12 years, Dr. Kumar has been coordinating a number of collaborative research and educational projects between European and Indian institutions. So I welcome you, Dr. Samrat, and it's an honor to have you here. And may I request you to start the session with your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nirmala. Let me just share my screen. And, okay, share. Yep. So 1 second. Are you able to see my screen?
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
The presentation. So, yeah, perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. Is it okay? Okay.
Yeah.
Good afternoon to everyone. As Dr. Nirmala introduced me, my name is Samrat Kumar. I am the country representative of Euraxess India, which is an initiative founded by the European Union to support researchers' mobility and to enhance the cooperation between Europe and the world, and in our case, of course, India. So today, what I'm going to present to you is the largest research and innovation framework program in the world, which is known as Horizon 2020. And I will present to you opportunities for cooperating, for joining this program, the calls in this program, both for individuals, but also for Indian institutions. So let's see what's in there for Indian researchers and institutions. Horizon 2020, as I said, it's the largest funding program, research innovation program in the world with a budget of 80 billion euros spanned over 7 years, 2014 to 2020. So we are right now entering actually the last stage of this program. But good news, a new program has been approved by the European Union and will start next year. But the current Horizon 2020 program in its last year has still many open calls and opportunities, both for individual researchers and also for institutions. So let me tell you basically a bit about what this program has to offer. I'm just trying if I can move the dashboard a little down. Yeah, okay. So the program has 3 pillars: excellent science, industrial leadership, and societal challenges. Under these 3 pillars, there are different calls, different funding programs where researchers and institutions from all over the world can apply for. Now, the mantra of this program is open to the world. So across the world, people, researchers, institutions can participate, and they can collaborate now with 27 EU member states. These are the member states which are part of the European Union, plus 16 so-called associated countries. These associated countries are not part of the European Union as such, but they are part of the larger European research area. And there are countries like Israel, Switzerland, Turkey, who are also part of the program. So it means these countries pay into this program and can also simultaneously apply for fundings and collaborate with countries outside, so-called third countries. India would qualify as a third country. Has nothing to do with the political categorization. It has to do with the aspect that India is not part of the EU and the European research area. Okay. Now, as I said, from any sector, any country, organizations and individuals can participate. For individual researchers, there are different mobility programs which the European Union has to offer. Maybe you have heard of the Sklodowska-Curie actions or the European Research Council. These are programs which I will introduce in this presentation as well, which have very interesting PhD and postdoc offers for Indian researchers. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now, also within the Horizon 2020, there are many topics which are flagged for cooperation with partners outside of Europe, like India, and Indian researchers, as I said, can participate in the project. Now, how can an Indian entity, both individual as well as institution, participate in this Horizon 2020 program? First way, as a scientist, you can participate in the Marie Sklodowska-Curie actions, which are tailored towards individual, but also to institutional cooperation. The second program is the European Research Council, which is one of the topmost research grants which a researcher in the world can get, or you can become a team member. You can be a collaborative partner in some research innovation calls as well. And lastly, as an Indian entity, you can join so-called pre-identified joint or so-called co-funded calls, which both the EU and the partner country, in our case, India, identify. So let's say there are 700 calls right now, which have been published by Under Horizon 2020 for this year. Now the Indian counterpart, the Indian ministry, the DBT or DST, together with the EU, selects those calls which India thinks are of relevance. And then they identify, right, let's say 30 calls where both Indian and European partners, institutions can collaborate, form a consortium and apply. Should you get funded, then the funding will come for the Indian organizations of the consortium from the Indian ministry, and for the European partners, it will come from the EU. So it's called a co-funded mechanism where both entities pay in equally. Now let's come to the Marie Sklodowska-Curie action programs. These are mobility programs which inquire that researchers, institutions engage in mobility of their staff, their students, and their faculty. Now look at this, the academic ladder, as I would call it. Now, I think most of you have heard about Erasmus+. This is student mobility programs for undergraduate and master students. Once you have completed your postgraduate, you're looking for doctoral positions, postdoc positions. Here, the Marie Sklodowska-Curie action programs come in. These are exclusively for doctoral and postdoctoral programs. Once you've completed your doctoral stage, you climb up the ladder, and then the European Research Council grants are interesting for you. These grants are for researchers who are already well established, who have already some scientific acknowledgement, who have already published. They can apply for these very high grants, which are like several million euros. That means you must be already on a stage of a junior professor or an associate or full-time professor, and you can see how the ladder goes up. So we are going to focus today on the Marie Sklodowska-Curie actions and the ERC European Research Council grant. So the Marie Sklodowska-Curie action program has 4 components. One is the individual fellowship. These are postdocs, which every year are announced, and I will talk about them in a minute. Then we have the so-called innovative training networks. These are PhDs. These are PhDs, opportunities, positions in different projects funded under the Marie Sklodowska-Curie action. Another one is the RISE, is the Research and Innovation Staff Exchange Program. This is collaboration between institutions to exchange their staff and knowledge through a project. And then there are co-funds. These are projects where universities apply. Now it's European universities apply to the EU Horizon 2020 program and get additional funding for their projects. For us, what is interesting today is the individual fellowship, the postdoc, and the training networks, the PhD programs. Now, who is eligible for these programs? Both early stage researchers and experienced researchers are eligible. So what does it mean to be early stage researcher? It means you have not obtained a PhD yet, so you can apply for programs like the training networks within RISE or CoFund. If you're already experienced researcher, means you have a PhD or 4 years of full-time research experience, you can apply for the postdoc positions under the individual fellowship program. So now we come to the training networks. These are the PhD programs. Here we have 3 network programs. One is the European Training Network, the Industrial Doctorate, and the Joint Doctorate. So it already like the title already implies what these doctorates are about. The industrial doctorate is bridging the academic sector with the private sector. So in this consortia, also industrial partners are involved, and students can do a PhD also with an industrial partner. Joint doctorate degrees are different European universities form a consortium, and their students can do the doctorate within a joint degree, but also Indian students can apply and be part of this joint doctorate program. Now, these innovative training networks are something very novel. They are to train a new generation of creative, entrepreneurial, and innovative scientists, researchers. So it's really to bring you out from the traditional academic sector and bring you more into the private sector, to train you how you can take your research into the market. You get excellent infrastructure and training in these programs. And of course, it provides you an enhanced career perspective, both in the academic and non-academic sector. Still, we have currently many networks, projects are looking for PhDs. They are announced under the Horizon 2020 website, but also the Euraxess. And for the coming year, we just have 147 projects which have been funded in 2020, and the announcement of the PhD positions will be next year. And these are all includes all disciplines, all fields of science, including social sciences and humanities. So how do you apply for these doctorate programs? This is like very much like applying for a job. They are actually fully salaried with travel and mobility allowance. So this is a very handsome package which the Marie Sklodowska-Curie Actions programs are offering. So when you apply, you have to think that this is really applying for a job. A PhD in most European countries is considered as a job, and as I said, it's fully paid. You will get a very handsome salary, including living and family allowance. The projects have already been set by the beneficiaries and partners. So it means like I told you, the 147 projects which have been funded for this year. So these projects are already set in biotechnology, in physics, nanotechnology, artificial intelligence, like whatever you name it. Now they are looking for suitable PhD candidates. So if you see one of those projects which will try to recruit PhD students, and you think that you would be the right fit, you go and apply for that. It's a very fair and open, transparent process. All fields are, as I said, included. There are no fixed deadlines. Still, calls are open. What do you need for applying? You have to, of course, be qualified to undertake a PhD. You will have to have obtained a master's degree, relevant in the field of the project. Of course, provide transcript of your grades, have a CV showing your prior experiences, maybe any publications you have already, maybe a draft chapter of your thesis, or if your thesis has been, master thesis has been published. Personal statement, of course, why you are suitable for the project, like a motivation letter. You need, of course, references. Some will ask it. In most cases, they will not ask you to provide a TOEFL or English proficiency test, but you have to kind of prove that you are fluent in English to work as a working language and writing language. So there are different eligibility criteria, and you can find them on the websites of the project, but also on the Euraxess job website, which I will introduce to you in a minute. Okay, now we just have completed the PhD doctoral training programs. Now we come to the postdoc program of the Horizon 2020 scheme. This is under the Marie Sklodowska-Curie Actions. It's known as the individual fellowships. And maybe it's a bit of the title, maybe you might not think individual fellowship. What does it mean? It's basically postdoc. You have to, this is for people who want to do a postdoc. Now we have two types of fellowships. One is known as the European fellowships, where people from any country can find a host institution in Europe, a supervisor, and apply to get a fully 2-year funded postdoc in Europe. On the other hand, we have the global fellowship, where a European researcher based in Europe, or a citizen of Europe, can apply to go to any country in the world and have a host institution there. So it means, like, for instance, if you know a colleague in Europe who would like to do a postdoc in India, he or she can apply under the Global Fellowship Program. The only difference is that the Global Fellowship Program has a return point that the researcher has to return back to his home institution for 12 months. So it means he can come for 2 years to India, but he has to go back for 1 year to Europe to complete the funding program. In the European fellowship, basically, you can go for 2 full years to Europe as an Indian researcher. So the European fellowship, like you find a host in, 27, not 28 member states. I forgot to change that slide. As you know, the UK is no more part of the European Union, but still under the withdrawal agreement, I will talk about this in a minute. UK still qualifies as a host for the fellowship. So you can choose out of these countries. And it also has different panels like restart, reintegrate panel. Like if you have been out for academia for some years due to maybe parental leave or due personal reasons, you can apply in these different panels. But you should have a look and find a suitable panel for you. Global fellowship, as I already explained to you, Indian universities, institutions, and companies can host European nationals at their, and it's fully funded, and the funding is totally by the European Union. So that means the Indian institution has not any expenses. Another category is the widening fellowship, which means it's part of the European fellowship. The European Union has identified certain countries in Europe whose research and development index is a bit lower than countries like Germany, UK, France, as widening countries. So if you apply, for instance, in Poland or in Portugal at the host institution there, and you don't, your application crosses the threshold of 70% of excellent, but you don't get listed for funding, you have the option to get a widening fellowship in one of those countries. So this is also when you are applying, you will have the option to apply for widening fellowship. These are a very more detailed information, but you will find all this clear information on our website about the widening fellowship as well. So for the individual fellowship for the postdoc, who can apply? All nationalities, no age restriction. The mobility is a must. You have to come to Europe or move within Europe. Of course, you will have to have a doctoral degree or at least 4 years full-time research experience at the time of the deadline. And it is a beautiful postdoc scheme because it's a bottom-up approach. It's about your research. There is no priority given. There is no top-down approach to this program. If you think you have an excellent idea, a research project, you go for it and you apply, and it's about your research, about your project. There's nothing which we are asking you to work on. It's no topic is given. It's really a bottom-up approach. Good news also that Indian researchers are extremely performing well in this postdoctoral fellowship. We have now over 300 Indians who have received the fellowship, the grant. And last year in 2019, were almost 90 Indians. So India is actually the top country outside of Europe. Indian researchers are performing extremely well together with China in this program. Now let's look at some figures. Now you will get a living allowance, which means a salary of around 4,800 euros per month, plus mobility allowance and family allowance. So you also are entitled to bring your family with the fellowship to Europe. Training costs for the institutions are their management and indirect costs. So it's really a very handsome package which this program is offering to researchers. And same goes for the global fellowship. Indian institutions would also get the amount of money to pay the European researcher. How does it work? First of all, you have to find a host organization, a supervisor in Europe who is willing to host you. There are several hundred offers right now, expressions of interest on the Euraxess portal, Euraxess website, because the call for this year has just opened in April, and the deadline is 9th of September. So many European institutions are looking for potential researchers who want to apply under this, and they're ready to host them. So first you have to find a supervisor who's convinced about your project, is ready to host you. Of course, you discuss your project proposal. You have to, very importantly, this is a joint collaboration between the applicant, the candidate, and the supervisor. the proposal is submitted with the host because the contract, the agreement, the fellowship agreement is signed between the European Commission and the host institutions. As I said, the call is open now. You can find all information on the Euraxess website, which I will show you in a minute. And the tentative budget for this year is 325 million. There will also be a postdoc Maurice Sklodowska-Curie individual fellowship call in 2021. So maybe if you're not ready this year, for sure next year you should look into it. You can find information about this Maurice Sklodowska-Curie actions on the websites, which I have listed here, and there's also Horizon 2020 website as well. The next one is the European Research Council, which offers grants to experienced researchers. This is a top research body by the European Commission, and this is for long-term grants up to 6 years. And here, what the European Commission wants you is disruptive, frontier, blue sky research. This is about really the future of research. If you think that your research is going to make a change in the world, then this program is something for you. Again, it's bottom up, no priorities set. The criteria of this program is it has to be excellent. You have to really think, you have to really believe that your project is the best of the best. This is really the creme de la creme who applies for it. If you are experienced researcher, Indian researchers are very good in this program as well. More than 50 Indians have received the grant, and more than 1,000 Indians have worked as team members in one of the research projects. So you can either apply as a principal investigator, or you can be part of a ERC team also being recruited. There are 3 types of grants. The starting grant is for somebody who's just completed his PhD and is looking for now, establish himself in the field. That is up to 1.5 million for 5 years. The consolidator grant is for you who already are advanced in their research career, already post-PhD, maybe you have done your postdoc, and this is up to 2 million for 5 years. And then the advanced grant, which is open right now, this means this is for someone who already has achieved significant research in his field in the last 10 years, and this is up to 2.5 million for 5 years. So these are the 3 grant schemes, the main ones. There are some others, but these are the 3 ones which you can look if you would qualify for them. But it's really about avant-garde, new frontier research. Yeah, this I already mentioned you. Excellent research is the criteria. It's a very open competition project. It's about scientific excellence. It's about your research idea, and it's about new and unpredictable scientific and technological discoveries. This is very important for this program. As I said, as an Indian researcher, you can apply to this grant as a principal investigator, or if you can be recruited to one of the research projects as a team member. Each grant can compose a team of 4 to 5 members. All the open positions for non-European scientists in this European Research Council project are available on the Euraxess job portal. Another feature for India is that there are certain international agreements between funding agencies and science ministries. Means the European Union has agreements with different countries where Indian researchers can participate for 1 year in one of these projects. In India, we have the agreement with SERB since 2017. That means that you can, SERB grantees can join an ERC team up to 1 year. There is an announcement. You have to go on the SERB website and look. If you are a SERB grantee, you can see that there are offers, over 400 offers are there for Indian researchers to join an ERC project. Okay. There are more benefits, of course. You get additional startup funding if you're coming outside of Europe and moving with the grant to Europe. You can keep your affiliation with your home institution, which is, I think, very important. But minimum 50% of the work time has to be in Europe. So it means you can travel between Europe and India. Of course, these days the traveling is a bit limited, but we are very hopeful that from next year on it will be again very simple for researchers to move. So it means 50% you have to work at the European institution, but you can keep the affiliation with your Indian home institution. As a team member, you can also be based outside in Europe. So we have cases of Indian researchers who are part of the ERC project, but they are living still in India. And you can move within, if you're a grantee, if you have gotten a grant, you can move within Europe with that grant as well. So just to summarize, how to participate in Horizon 2020, find a relevant call, their annual work programs. 2020, we had 700 calls. There's still over 100 calls which are open. Find partners or find the right mobility program as individual researcher, submit a proposal and get selected and get involved. Lastly, regarding Horizon 2020, the information about Brexit and the UK leaving the European Union, that's very important for you to know if you are thinking to apply to the UK under the EU program. As per today, the withdrawal agreement foresees that the UK will continue to participate in the EU programs, including the Sklodowska-Curie actions and the ERC grants. So basically, the UK is treated as if it was still a EU member until the program closes. So you can continue to take part in the UK, even if the project ends after 2020. The funding will still be given to the UK host institution. Okay. Now, just to give you a brief overview, what all these programs, mobility program schemes I have told you, you can find them in a one-stop shop, which is called Euraxess. This is the initiative I am representing here today. It's made of 4 components. It was established by the European Commission to reduce the barriers of mobility for international researchers, to help researchers to develop an international career, and to publish job and funding opportunities for researchers across the world. We have 4 components: the job and funding, where we have a database, a large database, where we daily upload and publish open positions for a PhD, postdoc, and professors. We have information assistance section where we give you practical personal service for researchers who are planning to come to Europe or who are moving to Europe, for instance, with their families, about accommodation, about housing, about kindergarten, social security, taxes, everything. We have dedicated officers and centers in 42 European countries, Euraxess officers. We have a partnering tool, a database where you can find individual members, but also institutional partners. And then there's the worldwide component. It means that there are across the world, we have different offices and hubs who are helping to connect the researchers abroad with Europe. In our case, in India, I'm the country head, and we have an office here, and our job is to help Indian researchers to connect with Europe and vice versa. Just to give you a few figures, annually we publish 60,000 job vacancies. So these are really job positions you can apply for. Like, as I said, PhD and postdocs are paid positions in Europe. 17,000 research organizations and universities are registered with in our network. We have 1 lakh users with Euraxess. So if you sign up and become a member, you have an access to this pool of researchers. There are currently 500 funding opportunities available every month. And the funding opportunities and job opportunities include all areas of science, technology, innovation, including social sciences and humanities. This is our Euraxess worldwide map. You can see the different countries where we have offices. And we can also connect you to those research communities, our research communities in the US, in South America, in Korea, Japan as well, if you're looking for a broader collaboration, not only Europe. If we could have a quick look at our Euraxess India website. Trying here, okay. So this is the Euraxess India website. You can see here we have a section called News, and here we publish calls and open calls under Horizon 2020 relevant to Indian researchers. So we see here the ERC Advanced Grant. We see
Sorry to interrupt you. We are not able to see the website. You have to share a screen because what we are seeing is the PPT.
Okay, you're not able to share that. Okay, how to do that?
You have to change the
PPT.
You can just minimize and then you can just
open.
Or you can just share your desktop. Then you can just share everything.
Okay. Anyway, let's I'm not able to do this right now. So if you go to our Euraxess India website, you will see we have news and events where we publish calls like PhD positions, postdoc positions relevant for India, tailored towards Indian researchers. We have a career and funding tool where we give you organize webinars and trainings how to improve your international career. There are a lot of publications about different countries, their research and profiles, their landscapes. So there's a lot of information on our website. And if you go to the job and funding portal, we have engine tools where you can search for different sectors, different programs, different countries, and you will get a list of open calls, okay? So what you have to do is basically you go to sign up and become a member for free. This is all the services of Euraxess are for free of the European Commission. So when you sign up, you will basically create your account, and then you subscribe to our Euraxess India website. You go back to Euraxess India and subscribe here, and you will get from us fresh information on calls and events which we are organizing. Yeah. Okay. Where am I now? I lost it a little bit. Sorry about that. Okay. So we provide you with newsletters, flash notes. With the flash notes are news alerts about different calls, EU-India calls, bilateral call, the EU member state calls, where Indian can apply for. We organize different events and webinars as well. Upcoming webinars are the next week. We're organizing how to write a successful Marie Sklodowska-Curie individual fellowship proposal. That's the postdoc program. So if you are interested in this program, I would highly recommend you to join. These are all free of cost webinars. The registration is open. You just go to our website, india.euraxess.org, and you register for free for this webinar, where we have expert speakers who will give you tips and tricks how to write a successful proposal. How to get published in a peer-reviewed journal is also one upcoming webinar on July 24th. We will announce that shortly. You can also register for that. How to improve your skills, your science communication skills, orally and also in writing. That's a webinar where we have excellent trainers from different parts of the world who will also give a free training to you. We had a webinar series just now on PhD opportunities in Europe, where we feature different countries and the fellowship programs they have. We will do that again towards the end of the year. And along the way, there will be more webinars and events happening. As you know, many things will happen virtually this year, like our Euraxess Science Slam, which is our flagship event. Maybe you know it. Every year we invite researchers of all age and all stages of their career to send us a video where they explain their research in 5 minutes, a pitch, 5 minutes in a funny and entertaining way. We select the 5 best and they perform normally live. Maybe this year it will be a virtual event and compete for the title of the Science Euraxess Science Slammer. And the first prize is usually a round trip ticket to Europe and to visit research institutions of the winner's choice. In that slam, you can use different props. You can also use different components like art, live experiments, music, dance, and sport. These are the winners of the last 2 years. Sayani Das from the TIFR Mumbai, and winner of 2018, Prabhan Chakraborty from NCBS. Prabhan is right now doing his postdoc in France. So join the Euraxess India community. It's fun to be part of our, and you will get a lot of information provided by us. So we do a lot of homework for you and give you the opportunities to apply for. The network, to summarize, is open to all researchers, all stages of their careers. You get timely information on EU-funded calls and fellowship. It's open to the world, open to all Indian entities, and the membership is for free. That's the important thing to know. Please register at visiting our website. You can, of course, contact us anytime at india@euraxess.net. You can follow us, of course, on Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn. Thank you so much for listening. If there are any questions now, I'm happy to take them.
Thank you, sir, Dr. Samrat. It was really an informative talk, and I think many participants would have benefited from many informations. So there are few some basic questions. I'll just ask few of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, what are the factors that is deciding for success of Marie Curie postdoc fellowship?
Sorry, could you repeat that?
Yeah, what are the factors, the deciding factors for the success of Marie Curie postdoc fellowship applications?
The success is very much to have a supporting supervisor. So the supervisor has to be, of course, convinced about your project, and he has to be active. Like if you have a supervisor who is not active, who is not responding, who is not helping you, who is not looking at the draft of your proposal, then the chances are limited. But if you have an engaging and supporting supervisor who is convinced about your project, that will help a lot. Of course, it has to be excellent. There are three main parts of the application. It's only 10 pages, but practical advice on how to write a successful proposal.
Thank you. The next question is, do Indians in permanent positions are only eligible for collaborative projects?
You have to be affiliated to an institution. Like if you apply for the Marie Sklodowska-Curie actions, the individual programs like PhD, postdoc, you have to be at the, for the postdoc, you have to be in, you have to show that you have an affiliation to an institution, or you have to be an industrial organization which also is conducting a research.
Yeah. The third question from Mr. Sharath, is there any research internship for Indian PhD scholars? Internship?
Yeah, there are internships, of course. The different European countries offer internship programs also. You have to, of course, look at them and identify where some of them we announce, of course, also if they're available, but you can look into the different, there are different websites where you can look for internship or short, like many Indian students ask if there are short-term courses, like they are doing a PhD at the Indian institution and they don't want to give up that PhD and look for short-term courses. France, for instance, has a fellowship for PhD for short-time visits to French institutions. You just go to campusfrance.org or CNRS India, and you will find those opportunities as an example.
Thank you. The other question from Ms. Nina, is there any special fellowships for women candidates for postdoc?
European countries and of course our European programs put a very strong emphasis on gender equality. As you know, the European countries are very advanced when it comes to gender equality, but also gender equality in research. Sometimes there are calls which specifically are targeting young female researchers. That is also there, but of course it's an equal open competition. But of course, the gender aspect is always taken care of in this project as well. But sometimes there are calls, institution projects, which are looking specifically for female researchers.
Thank you. So one last question. PhD paper publication with peer-reviewed journal or any journal, is it an eligible condition for applying? I mean, publications are required. Yeah.
Yeah, of course, it always helps if you have a publication, right? But it's not a must, you know. Like, of course, the supervisors, the project coordinators know that a young student who just finished his master's might not have so many publications in hand. But you have to show that you are on a level to write excellent scientific papers. So you can also, of course, submit your part of your thesis to prove that you have knowledge about how to write and how to do research. Publication, of course, is an advantage, but it's not a disadvantage if you don't have any publications, because the PhD training program will, of course, also work on helping you to publish.
Yeah. So thank you, Dr. Samrat. Though there are a number of questions, for want of time, I just limited a few questions. So thank you once again for a very informative talk on funding opportunities. Yeah.
Thank you very much. And if there are questions still not answered, please do not hesitate to write us at india@euraxess.net or go on our website we'll be certainly replying to you.
Thank you, Dr. Samrat. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so
Yeah,
much, Dr.
yeah.
Nirmala. Have a wonderful conference. All the best.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye.
Thank you.